Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a fantastic day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. You are going to notice some very obvious patterns in this video, as has been the case over the course of the last couple of weeks. In a recent series of tweets, Julian Timmer, it is literally Julian without the L's, they are R's there, Julian Timmer, Fidelity's Director of Global Macro, shared an intriguing view on the current state of Bitcoin. Timmer drew parallels between the volatile cryptocurrency and the boom and bust cycle of the dot-com era, suggesting that Bitcoin could be poised for another revival. If you have seen any of the last 9-10 videos, you've noticed that everyone, for some reason, believes that the cryptocurrency market is about to go completely bananas. And they've been saying this for a while, in that the idea that we were around a $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 Bitcoin, we moved up to around 30 something or other thousand, which was meant to be like the ultimate level of resistance in reclaiming the fact that we were back in a bull market. Even the mini dips that we've been experiencing in price over the last week or so apparently was a healthy enough pullback that it didn't indicate that Bitcoin was on its way back down to 10 or 15,000. It was more of a people taking profits, which is quite common, and therefore the market's getting ready to move back up again. This comes amid a challenging period for the digital asset, which is currently trading around something or other depending on when you're watching this video. Timmer likened Bitcoin to aspirational money. Similar to gold, a store of value that has been recognized for thousands of years. He said, "I don't see many people paying for their Starbucks with gold, so gold is mostly a store of value these days." He added that Bitcoin's built-in scarcity and adoption curve of disruptive technology make it a unique asset. Reflecting on the dot-com bubble of the 1990s, Timmer noted that bubbles propelled many unqualified stocks to stratospheric heights, only for them to lose most or all of their value when the bubble burst. He said the same trend can be observed in the crypto world, but also pointed out that long-term winners like Apple and Amazon managed to emerge from the wreckage. Timmer boldly suggested that Bitcoin could be the Apple of the digital asset age. Have you been paying attention to the record valuations of a number of companies over the course of the last year or so, even as many other markets had begun to slide down? I don't know the exact number anymore, but I think Apple is it like Apple's worth $3 or $4 trillion or something like that now, which is an almost unbelievable amount of money for anyone. Once again, it's nearly impossible for humans to conceptualize the idea of 100 billion of anything. We can't actually put it, like, try to imagine 100 billion stars in the sky or $100 billion in front of you. Nonetheless, 10x that, and then you have 1 trillion. Now triple that. It's impossible for us to. It's an obscene amount of money. The same with, I believe it's Nvidia. They also have recently reached a valuation of multiple trillions of dollars. We live in a very, very, very interesting world. I'm going to assume that Mr. Timmer is definitely an original crypto user and or holder, because we don't often hear about the dot-com bubble references to Bitcoin anymore. Many years ago, people were trying to figure out what year we were in, cycle-wise and or cryptocurrency-wise, and the general idea was that we were roughly around 1994 to 1998, or so they say, when it came to the adoption of the internet, and therefore the adoption of cryptocurrencies. And this is why he used the dot-com bubble reference, in that after the bubble popped, everything else after that basically continued moving up until we had the 2008 crisis and all that stuff. So yeah, continuing the legacy of everyone talking about how big Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to become, and also everyone of the generalized mindset that we are getting ready to experience some type of a hyperbolic, parabolic, megabolic upward movement within the cryptocurrency market. It is a bit intense. Also in the news, economist and crypto trader Alex Krueger is turning bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yep, all the time. It's really it is nice to see that everyone is so bullish, but it's also a bit intense that everyone has dramatically flipped. You would be hard pressed to find anyone at the moment who is negative on the space and or thinks anything, bad price wise is going to happen. Everyone is of the mindset that we are getting ready to experience some type of a hyper movement upward. Krueger told people on Twitter that the Federal Reserve is likely near the end of raising interest rates to tame inflation and will likely pivot in December. We have a couple of suspicions going on. That is to say that people believe that the Federal Reserve is not only going to end interest rates rising, they may continue. We've heard mixed messages from them as of late. The idea is that they may be done. They may have one or two more rises, but at some point they will stop. However, the other portion of that is when they will actually lower interest rates. The idea being if the markets don't pick up enough, or even just in general, you can't have high interest rates forever. You need to be able to increase your GDP and pump markets once again to have a stronger, wealthier market, especially after the turmoil of 2020 and 2021 and also 2022. That's like the big shebang, is whenever they lower interest rates, that's basically going to be the gigantic free-for-all for all markets. He believes the markets will anticipate the Fed's pivot and start rallying as early as August. He says the Fed has delivered a 20x 25 basis points rate hikes in its fastest and most aggressive hiking cycle in history, which means that at least 90% of the Fed's hikes are behind, if not all. To me, is all that matters and makes it easy to stay long. This has been my view all year. My base case is a December pivot and a bull market gearing up in early August to front run this. Why? The economy is cooling and inflation is falling. The Fed is forced to overshoot hiking due to its past errors, which increases odds of it pivoting when data rolls over. Everyone is looking forward to the exact same event. It's something we've been talking about for a while, since around spring of last year, if you can believe it. That time has already flown that quickly. Yeah, it's already June something, and the year is, just about halfway over. I literally remember when it was New Year's Day, but that's also beside the point. Also, just to bring it on home, for those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin poised for a parabolic surge. Crypto analyst predicts. Yep, this is another person. There's a lot of news as well. I don't have it in this video. People think that Cardano is about to make a gigantic push, surge, movement higher. There's a lot of speculation about XRP. You've definitely seen a huge amount of it. A lot of people think that XRP is poised to hit $1 sometime warm season in the summer. And then from there, we are going to see by the end of this year a $4 or $5 XRP. Same exact thing for Ethereum. People are, there's a lot of discussions around an $8,000 Ether. There's no real time frame for it. It's more of a soon-esque kind of thing. And then you have a lot of people discussing the $10,000 to $15,000 Ether over the course of the 2024-2025 bull run. Yeah. Everyone's optimistic. Everyone's talking about big money. Everyone's talking about where the market's going to go. Everyone's expecting the Fed to continue one more time raising interest rates and or stop raising interest rates, and for all markets to basically react to that every single day. It's really intense, but it is nice to see optimism as opposed to pessimism. That's the Bitcoin and crypto poised for a parabolic surge in price news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, the European Union has formally signed its landmark Markets in Crypto Assets MiCA regulation into law, taking the bloc one step closer to becoming the first major jurisdiction in the world with tailored rules for the sector. The law was signed by the European Parliament President Roberta Metsola and Swedish Rural Affairs Minister Peter Kullgren, alongside a separate anti-money laundering law that requires crypto providers to verify their customers' identities when they transfer funds. The news was announced on Twitter by the Swedish government, which is chairing legislative talks as it holds the EU presidency. A parliament spokesperson confirmed to CoinDesk that the law in question includes MiCA and the transfer of funds rules, as well as two unregulated regulations, on trade with Eastern Europe. So the thing that we've been hearing about since it was also, I think, summer of last year, European Union has basically decided that they wanted to be the forefront in the countries that would be regulating cryptocurrency assets. And I think that's why we also saw towards the end of last year, mainly the end of last year, nearly every European country kind of came forward with their own rules and regulations and taxations for crypto. This is why we still know, as far as I can tell, I assume it would have been major crypto news, that Portugal is still the 0% crypto tax haven. Same exact thing with Germany. Germany has a 0% tax rate for crypto. And I think France tried recently as well. They said that they would love for companies to enter France to do crypto business, but I think they have a tax rate of, I think it's 35% on crypto, which doesn't make, why not just lower it? Spain is also, I think, relatively high as well. And I forgot what Italy's was, but I remember definitely people were not feeling it. So now they have a broad thing, basically kind of lumping cryptocurrencies with the banking sector, in that if you are a cryptocurrency exchange and people are trying to use you and or transfer funds from within your system, you need to basically have their information. A lot of people don't care for this, but once again, like I always say, you are not forced to use Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, any other exchange out there. So we were going to get these laws at some point. There will probably be more laws on top of this to make sure that money isn't laundered and or moved around even further without the consent of the lawmakers. But yeah, finally got the law. It's been a long time coming. Nearly everyone on the planet has cryptocurrency regulations at this point. So yeah, that's the European Union finally has the markets in crypto assets MiCA law. Let's move on. In what actually might be one of the most bizarre things that we have heard of in a while, it makes a lot of sense. But at the same exact time, it's also special. You'll see as we actually go through it. Since January of this year, there have been more than 10 million NFTs created on Bitcoin. And this number continues to grow exponentially. We heard a couple of weeks ago it was 5 million, then 7 million. And now it's officially over 10 million, and I assume we will have news when it's 12 million, 15 million, 20 million, because those are all milestone numbers. To provide some context, the Ordinals protocol allows for the ordered identification of Satoshis, the smallest subdivision of a Bitcoin, enabling each of them to have an individual identity. From that point, people can inscribe or write on the Satoshis with arbitrary content, including things that we have come to know as NFTs. Pictures, movies, drawings, you kind of name it. So the idea is that you may take an entire Bitcoin, which has 100 million Satoshis, but if you take one Satoshi from it, and basically imagine you put the Mona Lisa on there, or you use that one Satoshi and you put everything that Banksy has ever done. Like Banksy puts all of his work in a digital form, but on that one Satoshi. You would then be able to say that one Satoshi that has all of Banksy's work, or the Mona Lisa, is more expensive or worth more than the other Satoshi that's sitting right next to it that has absolutely nothing written on it. I guess we can all agree with that. Among the various narratives resulting from this technique The existence of an extremely underground group of individuals who identify, track, and trade high-value historical Satoshis has come to light. They are known as Sat Hunters. It sounds like it almost feels like we live in like 1982 and this is like one of those dystopian futuristic movies. You've seen it before. I mean, I've watched a lot of 1980s futuristic movies and like where everyone is wearing like leather for some reason and has on harnesses and really weird hats. Someone has like a cyborg arm or cyborgs are walking around. It's like it's always this kind of thing going on. But there are now people who find extra value in Satoshis, the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, because of what happened to them historically or things that are written on top of them. And this sounds and is, let's be honest with ourselves, relatively abstract in that you wouldn't assume that something like this would have caught on and or be really big. But it's also similar to, if you are on Vivi, the NFT app, there are a wide number of people who are like number hunters. So if an NFT gets minted or created, let's say the first appearance of Darth Vader or something like that, there are people who will search for sequential numbers. So if the minting number is 1111, people value this a lot higher. Same with 2222, 3333. If your minting number is 1881, like kind of things like that, things that or mint number 1234, and people actually value these extremely higher than other things. So you can see that something only has 9,000 or 10,000 things created for the sake of ease of numbers. But you will have minting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, of course, be worth the most. These are the first 10 that were ever created. But then you'll also have stuff that has like the minting number 88 or simply number 11 or 1337. And the lowest, or rather the other ones at the top of the list may be selling for $30, $40, $50. But the sequential numbered mint may be on sale for $15, $16, $17, $25,000. There are people who love these kinds of things. Last point, then we'll move on. I knew a guy years ago who collected currency. It's a fairly common thing, similar with like collecting stamps. So he wanted money from the US, from Canada, from Japan, you name it. He had all of it. And I saw his collection one time and he loved any paper currency that had a sequential number on it or a palindromic number, you name it. It was like a really big thing. And he was explaining to me how this $1 bill was worth like $15,000. And I was like, oh, cool. Wow. Like just trying to be nice. But it is there's a huge, gigantic market for it. It says there's no denying that the Bitcoin ecosystem is undergoing a period of tremendous innovation since the advent of ordinals in early 2023. Here's a tweet from someone, them basically stating what they do and how they do it. I still, for the life of me, don't 1000% understand the process, but apparently it involves taking huge amounts of Bitcoin in and out of a cryptocurrency exchange multiple times. They do it until they feel satisfied with the amount of things that have happened. And then they go through the Satoshis, I'm not joking, to find which one has actual significance. And that's how it works. Their main activity involves transacting millions of Bitcoin in search of Satoshis that were present in historical moments of the crypto world. And here's a chart from it from someone named Leonidas or Leonidas, depending on where you are. It says rare old sat collecting seems to be picking up steam. Here's a breakdown. So apparently people go for the first set of each block, therefore a block that was made, the first sat that was created there, the first Satoshi of each difficulty adjustment period. If you have an epic one, the first sat of each halving, I can see that one. The first Satoshi that was created after the halving. I'm understanding a bit more now. Vintage, Satoshi's mined in the first 1,000 blocks. Satoshi's mined by Satoshi Nakamoto. the first transaction of something, a palindrome, the numbers same forward and backwards, or any of the, geez Louise, any of the 10,000 Bitcoin that were used to purchase that pizza on the 22nd of May in 2010. The practice is known as sat hunting and can be compared to continuously withdrawing money from a bank in search of rare coins. You withdraw $10,000, keeping only $1 of the rare coins, depositing the 9,999 back, and then withdrawing another 10,000 in search of a silver coin, a gold coin, what have you. The most interesting part is that someone did find an uncommon Satoshi and actually sold it for $13,600. See, it sounds different and interesting, but there's definitely a market for it. And this is something that has probably been underground for a while and it's going to pick up, especially if we get to the point where cryptocurrencies are around for a very long time. There's going to be a tremendous amount of people who are, it's really interesting. But it's the same if you collect Beanie Babies. A lot of people, if you collect anything, if you collect comic books, there's a difference between a comic book from your local comic book shop and also the newsstand edition. It sounds insane. Like, there are no newsstands anymore. And if you happen to find a newsstand, you've walked by and you've seen comic books on them. If you happen to have been around in 2011 or 2012 and you walked by a newsstand that actually had the first appearance of Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man, and you picked one up, those are worth like 10 to 15 times more than the one at your local comic book store because there are no newsstands anymore. It's this, it's a very specific kind of niche in the market. It's also interesting. I wonder how I guess you would have to comb through all of this yourself, because I wonder how you ascertain how rare a lot of these things are. I guess you have to look through all the hashes and stuff like that. Because mathematically, one of you out there has to have one of these. Like, think about it. Realistically, if you've been in the crypto market for at least 5 years and you've been transacting and buying Bitcoin and Satoshis and stuff like that, that's been sitting on a crypto exchange, one of you has to have a Satoshi, a literal one Satoshi that is worth $25,000 in some sort of way. Really weird, right? See, I told you. Anyway, that's the rare Satoshi thing. I think we are going to live in a world. We are going to live in a world where people are going to be flaunting their Satoshis in metaverses and showing other people on their wall that they have ownership of the 13th Satoshi that was minted by Satoshi Nakamoto. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, it would kind of be like owning the 13th US dollar that was ever printed. Fascinating, right? That's the people are into a lot of stuff news. People are into everything. I don't know if I have the mental capacity to be doing this also as a hobby. I have so many other things going on, but it's quite enticing, if you will. Yeah, that's that news. Let's move on. Yeah, I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that all of you are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.